Hi, BookTube. Yes, the hiatus is over if you have read my community tab, or seen it rather. and so, yeah, I hope to upload more videos in the next few days, and I hope that they will gradually get better and better as I learn how to properly edit now that I have my new laptop. One quick update. I'm currently reading Trevayne by Robert Ludlum. That review will come up when I finished reading the book, and at my speed, I don't know how long. But for today, we're going to talk about Garden of Beasts by Jeffery Deaver. This is a political thriller and historical fiction. So I haven't read a lot of historical fiction, apart from Musashi, which is my all-time favorite book, and the Scarlatti Inheritance by Robert Ludlum. No, actually, correct. I stand corrected on that. Some of the some classics, books written in the 19th century, which I have read, can be classified in a way as historical fiction because because they take place like about 20 to 50 years before the author actually published the book. So that counts, like, sort of. So I actually have read a few historical fictions. But anyway, uh, to save myself some time and not to give away too much, I'm going to read you the blurb at the back of the book so you know what the book is about, and then I might add one or two things in. Maybe. And then after that, I will jump into my thoughts on this book. Paul Schumann, a German-American living in New York City in 1936, is a mobster hitman known as much for his brilliant tactics as for taking only righteous assignments. But then Paul gets caught, and the arresting officer offers him a stark choice: execution or covert government service. Paul is asked to pose as a journalist covering the Summer Olympics taking place in Berlin. He is to hunt down and kill Reinhard Ernst, a ruthless architect of the ruthless architect of Hitler's clandestine rearmament. Excuse me. If successful, Paul will be pardoned and given the financial means to go legit. Paul travels to Germany, takes a room in a boarding house near the Tiergarten, the huge park in central Berlin, but also literally the Garden of Beasts, and begins his hunt. So, despite the United States government in the 1930s being politically neutral and isolated from, for the most part, isolated from the events in Europe, there are some people within the government who send over a secret agent to assassinate a high-ranking German official during in the build-up to the 1936 Olympics in Germany, in Nazi Germany. This Paul Schumann, who is a gangster. Now, Paul Schumann has a lot of anti-hero features about him. Characteristics. He is portrayed a lot as an anti-hero, but to me, though, he is portrayed more as a tragic hero. He recognizes that, to some extent, he recognizes he's done wrong in the past. He recognizes his mistakes, and he recognizes that this is not the ideal life he has followed. So he is a man in search of redemption from his gangster ways. but he's very, very good at his job. So, so he has, like, he's looking for redemption. So I see him more as a tragic hero compared to a anti-hero, but he can be both. He can be both. You would not be wrong to say that he is an anti-hero, because he is portrayed as such in the book. Um, I love this book. It had all the elements that I want out of a. Excuse me, I'm coming down with a kind of a flu here. The book has all the elements that I want out of a political thriller. A lot of unexpected twists and turns, and 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 betrayals and maneuverings, etc., etc. And the book takes place. The bulk of the story takes place over 48 hours, and the book is very fast paced. There was almost never a dull moment in this book. I loved it. I loved it. And he gets into a little bit of trouble uh, in Berlin. This is not a spoiler. This is just me introducing another character that's not mentioned in the back of the book. A police detective called Willy Kohl, German, is on his heels, tracking him. And this detective expresses frustration working for the Nazi regime, because in his pursuit of justice and in his pursuit of doing things the legal and right way, the Nazis make his job very, very difficult. And he's not an enthusiastic supporter of the regime. He reminds me a lot of the police detective in the book reminds me a lot of Xavier March from Fatherland. Yeah, very, very similar characters. So someone who works for an authoritarian regime but is a decent man. Anyway, so I liked his character a lot. There was a lot of even though we know who did it, who committed the crime, and that I'm not going to give that away. Even though I know ahead of time why the clues are there, it was interesting how the policeman still did his work at crime scene investigation. So it satisfied my detective mystery cravings as well. So the book has all the elements that I want out of my preference of book. The politics now, despite the United States being neutral, they still secretly send over someone to assassinate a high-ranking German official. So it has political maneuverings, it has betrayal. I know I'm repeating myself, but I have to point out all these things. It has complex characters, and it's taking place within a authoritarian regime. So, like, for those people who like to do things like vacation in North Korea just to experience the surreal atmosphere, that's the setting of this book. So, like, the atmosphere is very tense because you're in Nazi Germany. Pre-war Nazi Germany, granted, but it is a scary place. So even though this book is not an alternate history or a dystopia, the atmosphere that I'm looking for, the environment that I'm looking for, the world that I'm looking for is very much there, because he portrays this very frightening time to be alive in a period in history. So again, I have to stress, this is historical fiction. This is not dystopia or alternate history. Anyway, so I give this book a 10 out of 10. I loved it. I read through it in about a little over 3 weeks, maybe. which is surprisingly fast for me for a book with almost 600 pages. Let's see. Let me just check here. 551, not almost. So, uh, well over 500 pages. This book I read surprisingly fast. Highly recommend. This book has everything I'm looking for my particular tastes. I'm so glad I picked this up in Jakarta. Okay, briefly, I have one more video to upload of my trip to the Netherlands coming up soon, and I have a book haul video coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. And those two will be, shall we say, minimally edited. I'm still learning the tricks of editing videos. Okay, uh, have a nice day or evening wherever you are or whenever you watch this video. Apologies, I'm coming down with a bit of an illness right now. So I hope you'll bear with me with that. Okay, see you guys later. Goodbye.